Donald Trump says he's a huge supporter of Israel, and that his actions show it. As part of his first trip abroad as president, Trump broke with past protocol and became the first sitting U.S. leader to visit Jerusalem's Wailing Wall. The Old City site, the holiest for Jews, sits on disputed territory claimed by both Israel and the Palestinians. Previous U.S. presidents largely restricted official visits to West Jerusalem and the rest of Israel. At the end of last year, Trump again broke with convention.
I have determined that it is time to officially recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
He also announced controversially that he'd be moving the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. In January, his vice president, Mike Pence, traveled there to deliver a rare speech before Israel's parliament. An evangelical Christian, Pence often delivers a prophetic version of Trump's message, both in the Holy Land and in the U.S. On the ground, he's reinforced by Trump's bankruptcy lawyer turned ambassador to Israel, David Friedman. He's a religiously observant American Jew who supports Israeli settlements in the West Bank and owns property in Jerusalem. Meanwhile, at the UN, Trump's envoy Nikki Haley has vocally and actively taken on Israel's foes.
What we witnessed here today in the Security Council is an insult. It won't be forgotten.
And back in Washington, Trump's Jewish daughter and son-in-law have become somewhat celebrities within the Jewish community. But Trump's relationship with American Jews and Israel has not always been a love fest. Many liberal Jews loathe him. Some booed and walked out of his 2016 speech as a candidate before AIPAC, the pro-Israel lobby. Just months before that, Trump, echoing stereotypes, told Republican Jews,
"You're not going to support me, even though you know I'm the best thing that could ever happen to Israel, and I'll be that. And I know why you're not going to support me, and you're not going to support me because I don't want your money. You don't want to give me money, okay? But that's okay. You want to control your own politician. That's fine. Good."
Then, after his election, Trump got slammed by Jewish American leaders who accused him of turning a blind eye to an uptick in anti-Semitism, or worse, they said, encouraging it. But Trump's alliance with Israel's hawkish prime minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, has managed to silence most of Trump's pro-Israel critics and convinced key Jewish American backers, like billionaire Sheldon Adelson, to get on the Trump train. Remember, Netanyahu was no fan of Trump's predecessor, Barack Obama, but for 8 years, he was stuck with him. Before that, George Bush, a Republican, had Ehud Olmert and his center-left coalition. And Bill Clinton, a Democrat, had Ariel Sharon and his right-wing politics. Netanyahu and his supporters saw in Trump a golden opportunity, a rare moment in time to reshape the U.S.-Israel alliance, and in doing so, the Middle East as a whole. Rowie Rettenberg, CGTN in Washington.